Do you ever wake up and feel like you're just going through the motions, repeating the same tasks every single day? Well, I know a guy who takes that concept to a whole new level. Because if you're someone who thinks your job is killing you, then you clearly haven't met my man Mickey Barnes before. Mickey 17 is the new sci-fi film from Bong Joon Ho about an expendable employee sent on an expedition to colonize the ice world Niflheim. After one iteration of him dies, a new body is regenerated and most of his memories are intact. But human cloning is a messy business, and it's not long before things go haywire very quickly. Now, like pretty much every person on the planet, I'm sure, this has been one of my most anticipated movies ever since it was first announced. I mean, Bong Joon Ho, Robert Pattinson, science fiction. This shit was basically made for me in a lab. So as you can imagine, I was pretty convinced that I was gonna walk out of the theater after this one grinning from ear to ear, which is why it absolutely pains me to say that even though Mickey 17 is definitely still a worthwhile experience, it is far more messy, unfocused, and surface level than I was expecting it to be. Let's start by talking about the story they decided to go with here, because basically the whole idea is that a society of people is trying to inhabit a super dangerous planet, so naturally they keep cloning a guy over and over that they can force to do all of the most treacherous tasks necessary to complete their mission. And these aren't your usual day-to-day responsibilities like taking the trash out and washing the dishes. We're talking about testing out viruses, capturing alien creatures, not exactly your average day at the office. Spending time with this character and his duplicate is the real bread and butter of the film, but once the story becomes bigger than Mickey and his clone, that's where things become pretty unfocused, and he kind of just becomes a cog in the machine of this larger, overstuffed plot. One of the best aspects about a Bong Joon Ho movie is that he's always really good at picking unique stories that are entertaining, but also have a very nuanced way of saying something important too, which is why it surprised me just how overt and simple the messaging was this time around. The film kind of feels like he borrowed all of the same themes from his previous work in Snowpiercer and Okja, but all of the subtlety is gone and you're just beat over the head with them. As someone who went into this one expecting another thought-provoking and multi-layered outing, I was for sure let down in that regard. We have to talk about the performances because we have yet another case of an actor pulling double duty and playing multiple characters in the same film. I feel like that's been happening a lot lately, but having numerous Robert Pattinsons in your movie isn't something I'm gonna be complaining about anytime soon. This dude has been one of my favorite actors since Good Time back in 2017, and he does a really nice job here playing this set of two duplicates, and when it comes to the actual version of Mickey the story is centered around, he's super easy to root for. There are some other good actors in here too, like Naomi Ackie and Steven Yeun, who put out some solid work, but the villains here are played by Mark Ruffalo and Toni Collette, two actors I am definitely a fan of, but holy shit, their performances are so over the top and larger than life that it feels like they both thought they were in a completely different movie and were submitting bad SNL audition tapes instead. They're in the film too much, they didn't understand the assignment, and they suck all the air out of the room on several occasions. It's not good. Now let's talk about all of the technicals here, because obviously since the man behind the camera is the great Bong Joon Ho, who's one of the best and most consistent directors working today, those aspects come with a certain level of expectation when you know it's his work. Luckily for us, he's a guy that never skimps out on the visuals and the world building, two facets that are extremely important within the science fiction genre. I'm a huge fan of these types of films, and every step of the way the universe feels lived in, the new technology makes sense, and the creatures help to create a much needed emotional connection. I just appreciate when you can tell a world we're exploring feels like it has existed long before the actual start of the movie. But put plainly, how a movie from this man looks and feels is always going to be considered the gold standard within the landscape, and that trend continues yet again with his latest outing. Overall, guys, I am definitely conflicted regarding my experience with Mickey 17. On the one hand, the lead performance is great, the visuals are where they need to be, and the world building gets you invested in this universe. But on the flip side, the story and its themes seem way too simplistic and on the nose when you consider who's at the helm of this entire project. At the end of the day, there's enough here to satisfy fans of the science fiction genre, but don't be going into this one expecting the quality of something like Parasite. Mickey 17 gets a Sully score of 3 stars. So that's my review for the latest science fiction film. What's your favorite movie from the genre this year so far? I'm probably gonna have to go with The Gorge from Scott Derrickson, but let me know in the comments below what you think. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys at the next one.